Thank you for joining us from the International Space Station Flight Control Room at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. The on-orbit crew is busy at work and a little play today. It's the afternoon for the Expedition 36 crew of NASA astronauts Karen Nyberg and Chris Cassidy, European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano, and Russian cosmonauts Alexander Masurkin, Fyodor Yurchikhin, and Pavel Vinogradov serving as the commander. Astronauts Chris Cassidy and Karen Nyberg are in the midst of an educational outreach program with the Spheres robots on board. Spheres stands for Synchronized Position Hold, Engage, Reorient Experimental Satellites. They just started this activity about 30 minutes ago and will continue for the next couple of hours. This activity, part of the Zero Robotics Middle School competition at MIT. The participating school students are there at the university watching live as the onboard Sphere robots execute the student programming to determine the winners. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is continuing with their activities. Russian cosmonauts are continuing with the preparations for the upcoming spacewalk. Fyodor Yurchikhin and Alexander Masurkin have spent the day preparing for Friday's EVA, outfitting their Russian Orlan spacesuits with the EVA tools and other equipment, reviewing their spacewalk procedures, and conducting telemetry tests from the suits to Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolev outside of Moscow. Meanwhile, European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano is conducting some work with the waste and hygiene compartment, performing some pre-treat tank removal and replace activities. The morning also included some continued HTV work with Chris Cassidy and Karen Nyberg, continuing with the unloading of the cargo that was brought up by that cargo craft this past weekend. Again, all of those activities going well. The crew will continue with their afternoon, wrapping up with a daily planning conference with the ground control teams at 2 p.m. Central Time. They'll have some off-duty time for their evening meal and personal time, and a few end-of-day tasks before their sleep, which is scheduled for 4:30 p.m. Central Time.